Hello VC, Michael, Clash City Rocker, with a video on power trios. No, not power trios like Cream with Clapton, Baker, and Bruce, although that might be an interesting video as well. But on artists or bands who have released 3 great classic albums in a row. And I know that the words great and classic is extremely subjective, but there are some records that are considered part of the canon, which is also subjective. So I've utilized a resource, and I have a ton of record guides, and I just find them interesting over my shoulder. But the one I'm going to use to help is this one. This is from 2004. Yes, it's woefully inadequate and outdated. I think this was the 4th edition. I think the first one came out in 1978. And the system that they use to rate records is 1 through 5. And I probably should have done my homework ahead of time. What the 1 and the 2 and the 3 means. Oh, here they are. So 5 is a classic. Essential listening if you're even mildly curious about an artist or genre under discussion. Not only are these albums worthy of your disposable income, they stand a good chance of enriching your life. So that's a pretty heady phrase. All the way down to 1, which is disastrous. 2, fair to poor. 3, average to good. 4 being excellent. And again, 5, classic, essential listening if you're even mildly curious about the artist or genre under discussion. So what I did was I picked 30 artists and bands, kind of just randomly, somewhat based on the collection that I have. And some just based on VC videos that I've watched. And I know that a lot of these artists are ones that VC members consider to be great bands or artists. So before I begin into this series of Power Trios, 3 classic albums released in a row by an artist, I want to thank those who have commented on my videos, who have liked them, who have subscribed to them. Kind of funny, my oddity one didn't kind of take off like I thought it would, but that was still a fun video to make. Okay, so the first artist I'm going to do is, and it's probably no surprise here, is Bob Dylan, and 5-star records in a row, 3 of them. So bringing it all back home, which is probably my favorite Dylan. I've always loved this record. It's an awesome record. It's All Right, Ma, I'm Only Bleeding, one of my favorite Dylan ones, followed by Highway 61 Revisited. Again, everyone is familiar with that. Then capped off in 1966 with Blonde on Blonde. So the first power trio artist I'm mentioning is Bob Dylan and his 3 classic records in a row. So if you do the math, 5 stars for each of those records, 5 plus 5 plus 5 equals 15. So he would be the first artist to have 3 classic or great albums in a row. Next on the list, Miles Davis. My favorite Miles record. Love this record. I believe this is an original. In a Silent Way, John McLaughlin is on here. This predates this record. Came out in 69. I believe In a Silent Way came out in 68. This also has McLaughlin on it. Chick Corea's on it. Zawinul's on it. It's a huge band. Bitches Brew. And then that was followed by Miles Davis, a tribute to Jack Johnson. So 3 power trio classic rock or classic albums in a row. 5 stars for each of those. 5 plus 5 plus 5 equals 15. After Miles Davis, one of my all-time favorite bands is the Kinks. And this record came out, I believe, in 1966. Face to Face. By the way, this one somebody sold to me. They took up that mono Kinks box set and they broke it up into individual records. So somehow I ended up with some of the individuals. So anyways, Face to Face, 66, 5 stars. 67, Something Else by the Kinks. And then 68, Village Green Preservation Society. 3 power trio classic records in a row. The Kinks. The next one with 3 classic 5-star records in a row. Probably no shock. Rolling Stones, 1968, Beggar's Banquet. 1969, Let It Bleed. And 1971, Sticky Fingers. Now, I wonder, is it getting harder and harder to find these ones with the zipper and the underwear? I don't know. Maybe. So, another set of power trios. Oh, and I just realized that I skipped one. That's funny. After that, Velvet Underground. Another power trio. Self-titled, Velvet Underground and Nico. This is one from 1968. Closest I've gotten so far to an original. This one was their second record. This is a reissue. Came in 68, White Light, White Heat. And then Velvet Underground, self-titled. It's one of the early MGM ones. This came out in 69. And then just to throw in 4 5-star records in a row would be the Velvet Underground Loaded, which is probably my favorite. So 5 plus 5 plus 5. Again, 15 power trios. Of course, I've forgotten and to pull, but it's not going to take too long. Of course, the Beatles. I know everybody's excited who's gotten their mono box. This is my version of the mono box. There it is. Help. Another classic, great album. Rubber Soul. And then Revolver, which I've spent a ton of time talking about. So there's another power trio. My favorite era of the Beatles, 65 to 66. So all of those bands and artists released 3 classic, great albums in a row in succession. Now, the next category right underneath that is artists who released 3 great or classic albums in a row, but for some reason, Rolling Stone decided that they weren't 5-star records and that they were 4.5-star records. Now, how do you split hairs between a 4 and a 5? According to them, a 4-star record is excellent. 4-star albums generally represent outstanding performances by immortal artists or peak performances by mere mortals. If you're a fan of the artist or type of music in question, it's hard to go wrong with any of these albums. But apparently, they're not the ones that stand a chance of enriching your life, and they're not like essential listening. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. So, one of my favorite artists, a crazy run of records I could have pulled here. So, 76, Station to Station. I just realized this one's got the hype sticker on it, and it's in shrink. I guess I really haven't been paying attention to some of these records that I have. 5 stars, 1976, Bowie, Station to Station. Next, another original, David Bowie Low, 1977. This one, gorgeous as well. I should take better care of some of these records, but love it. And then I just realized this today when I pulled this. This is the one that they don't have as the 5 stars. So, Station to Station 5, Low 5. This one is a 4.5, so 14.5 points. Why this is not considered a 5-star record, I have no idea. But it turns out this is a promo. I didn't even realize that until I saw it today, and I paid, whenever I bought this, there you see, $8. Well worth it. Okay, another 14.5. That means 2 5-star records and then 1 4.5-star records. Now, there's going to be a caveat with this one. So, Public Enemy, probably my favorite. No, Run DMC is my favorite. Hip-hop, rap band Public Enemy right here. It's a reissue. Can't find my original. This is an original. Yo Bum Rush the Show. This is a promo as well. I had no idea. Wasn't really paying attention. And then, of course, my Fear of the Black Planet, which is the other 5-star record, is missing. But, so, Public Enemy, 14.5 points. Almost a power trio. And then another one, a band that is really popular in the VC, Steely Dan, Countdown to Ecstasy, Pretzel Logic, Katie Lied. I do like the fact that they have the pictures of the band on this one. That is 14.5 points as well, because with Steely Dan, the first one, Countdown to Ecstasy, is merely a 4.5 versus those other two are considered classics. So almost a power trio, but not quite. And in that same realm, which I find kind of laughable now, is the Ramones, another one of my favorite bands. The first one, the second one, it's an original. And then my original from 1977, Rocket to Russia, my favorite Ramones record. But for some reason, Leave Home, not a 5-star, a 4.5, so 14.5. So almost a power trio, but not quite. And then finally, one just below that 14.5 in honor of John Osborne. And in my earlier video, I talked about how underrated Ozzy is as a performer, as a vocalist. But power trios, almost, with Sabbath. Black Sabbath, the first record, is considered a classic 5-star record. Paranoid, classic 5-star record. And then Master of Reality, for some reason, is the 1-4 that they have. They say is excellent. And I think for a lot of people, this record and Sabotage are two of their favorites. So, very, very interesting. Other 14 ones that I did not do in here. Springsteen, 4 record being The River. Elvis, the 4 record being Armed Forces, after My Aim Is True in this year's model. By the way, The River, a 4. Come on. What are we talking about here? Led Zeppelin, 1, 2, and 3. 1 and 2 being 5s, 3 being a 4. REM, Murmur, a 5. Reckoning, 4.5. And then Fables. I mean, what's flawed about those? Sonic Youth, Sister, a 4. Then Evil and Daydream Nation being both 5s. Stevie Wonder, Intervisions, fulfilling his final finale, considered the not classic Songs in the Remain of Life. Talking Heads, More Songs About Buildings and Food. Fear of Music, not considered perfect. Those was 4.5s. And then Remain in Light. So I went through a whole bunch of the rest of these. The funniest one of all was Pink Floyd. 2 5-star records. Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, and then the third one, which would have made them a power trio, Animals, only got 2 stars in the Rolling Stone record guide, and I find that laughable. That's my favorite Pink Floyd record. The Jam, my other favorite band, had 1 5-star record, Sound Effects. The Who, for some bizarre reason, only have 1 5-star record. Tommy got 4, and Quadrophenia got 4. Bizarre. One of my other favorite bands, Replacements, only had 1 5, Let It Be, and my favorite record of theirs, Pleased to Meet Me, only 3.5. Prince, a lot of 5-star records, but they're interspersed. So like Dirty Mind was a 5, Purple Rain, Sign of the Times, but there were records in between. Fleetwood Mac, another popular VC band, had 1 5-star record you probably can guess. Rumors. And then U2, 2 5-star records, but they're tailed end after Unforgettable Fire. So there's another 14.5. Forgettable Fire, Joshua Tree, and Achtung. And then my all-time favorite band, obviously Clash, Michael, Clash City Rocker. The first one, a 5-star, and then London Calling, 5 5-star, but Giving Off Rope, not. So it was an interesting exercise. Artists or bands who recorded or released 3 classic 5-star records in a row, according to Rolling Stone, according to me. That was fun to check out. All right, peace.